Something is happening to narcissists when they meet you, and it's terrifying them, not in the way you'd expect. They're not getting angry. They're not fighting back. They're not launching into their usual performances, the charm offensive, the victim narrative, the rage explosion. No, they're going silent. Dead silent. Like someone reached into their brain and deleted every line they'd memorized for this exact moment. Like their teleprompter just went blank mid-sentence. Like the script they've been reading from their entire lives suddenly vanished, and now they're standing there with nothing. No words, no tactics, no next move. And the look in their eyes? Pure confusion. Followed by something you've never seen from them before. Fear. Let me tell you what I've been observing. Because this isn't happening to just one narcissist. This is happening to all of them. Every single one who crosses your path lately is experiencing the same thing, and none of them can explain it. None of them can understand why their usual programming stops working the moment you enter the room. First case, your coworker. The one who dominates every meeting, who talks over everyone, who turns every conversation into a monologue about their achievements. You know the one. They can go on for 45 minutes about their weekend without taking a breath. But last Tuesday, something changed. You walked into that meeting, sat down, didn't say anything unusual, just existed in your normal state. And they started their usual performance, opened their mouth, began the routine. But about 15 seconds in, they just stopped, mid-sentence. The words dried up. They looked at you, looked away, tried to restart, couldn't. The room went quiet. People started checking their phones because the silence was so uncomfortable. And this person, this compulsive talker who never shuts up, sat there for the rest of the meeting barely saying 3 words. People noticed. You noticed. But here's what you didn't notice. The panic in their eyes. The way they kept stealing glances at you, like you'd done something to them. Like you'd stolen their voice. Second case. Your family member. The one who's been pushing your buttons for years. The guilt trips, the manipulation, the way they twist every conversation into making you feel small. They've perfected this routine. They know exactly what to say to make you feel like you're the problem, like you're ungrateful, like you owe them something. You went to visit them last month. Prepared yourself for the usual onslaught. But it never came. They greeted you normally enough, but then nothing. Every time they opened their mouth to launch into their manipulation script, something stopped them. The words wouldn't form. The energy behind the words wasn't there. They'd start a sentence. You know, after everything I've done for you, and then trail off. Try again. I just think you should be more silence. It was like watching someone try to start a car with a dead battery. The engine turns over, but nothing catches. Nothing ignites. You left confused. They seemed disturbed, and you haven't heard from them since. Third case. That ex. The one who can't let go. The one who texts you every few months with some new angle. The apology that's not really an apology. The I miss you that's actually about their ego. The breadcrumb disguised as genuine interest. They showed up at your favorite coffee shop 3 weeks ago. Not a coincidence. They'd been tracking your patterns. They walked up to your table, that familiar smile already in place. The opening line already loaded and ready to fire. But when they opened their mouth, nothing came out. Not nervousness, not hesitation, Just absence. Like their brain sent the signal, but the words got lost somewhere between thought and speech. They stood there for what felt like an eternity. You looked up at them calmly, waited, and they just turned around and left. No explanation, no text later, no follow-up attempt, just gone. You're starting to notice a pattern now, aren't you? You're starting to realize this isn't about them having an off day. This isn't about coincidence. This is about something that's changed in you, something they can sense, something that's disrupting their entire operating system. Let me tell you what's really happening here. Narcissists are performers. That's all they are. They've spent their entire lives perfecting a script. Every word they say has been tested, refined, designed to produce a specific effect. Get attention, extract supply, maintain control. Their whole personality is a performance piece they've been running on autopilot for decades. But here's what they need to perform. An audience that believes the show is real. An audience that responds on cue. An audience that gives them the energy to keep the performance going. You stopped being that audience. Not consciously. Not intentionally. You didn't decide one day to become immune to narcissistic manipulation. It happened on a deeper level. Something in your frequency shifted. Something in your energy field recalibrated. And now when they approach you, when they try to run their usual programs, they hit a wall they can't see but can definitely feel. It's like they're actors who've walked onto a stage, only to discover the lights are off, the audience is gone, and they're performing to an empty theater. Every word they speak echoes back at them. Every manipulation attempt bounces off you and returns to sender. Every tactic that used to work just doesn't anymore, and it breaks them. Temporarily. Completely. Because narcissists don't have a self underneath the performance. They don't have authentic thoughts or genuine emotions waiting in the wings. The script is the person. The performance is the personality. So when you take away their ability to perform, you're not just disrupting their tactics, you're erasing their entire existence. That's why they go silent. That's why they freeze. That's why they retreat. They're not choosing silence. Silence is choosing them. Their brain is desperately trying to access the manipulation files, but your presence is corrupting the data. They reach for the charm and it's not there. They reach for the guilt trip and it dissolves before they can speak it. They reach for the rage and it has nowhere to go. You've become a dead zone for narcissistic supply. Now let's go deeper into the mechanism. Because this isn't mystical. This isn't magic. This is pure psychology and energy dynamics. Narcissists operate on a very specific frequency. It's a frequency of lack. They're constantly broadcasting, I need, I want, I require. And they've learned to identify people who operate on the frequency of I give, I provide, I accommodate. That's their food source. That's what they hunt for. But something happened to your frequency. You stopped broadcasting accommodation. You stopped transmitting availability. Whatever signal you're sending now, it's not in their range. It's like their AM radio, and you've become FM. They can sense you're there, but they can't tune into you anymore. And without being able to tune into you, they can't calibrate their attack. They can't read what approach to use. They can't identify your weak spots. So they're left standing there, all their weapons drawn, but no target to lock onto. This is what silence looks like when it's not a choice. It's a system failure. But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where you need to understand what you've actually become. You didn't just develop immunity to narcissists. You became something that actively drains them. Think about it. They're not just going silent and continuing with their day feeling fine. They're going silent and retreating. They're avoiding you now. They're making excuses not to be around you. Some of them have disappeared entirely from your life without explanation, because being in your presence isn't neutral for them anymore. It's costly. It's exhausting. It's like standing next to a frequency that's pulling energy out of them rather than providing it. You've become a reverse narcissist. Not in personality. You're not selfish or manipulative, but in energy dynamics. Where they try to drain others, you drain them. Where they try to dominate space, you collapse their field. Where they try to control the narrative, you delete their script. You're the predator's predator, the parasite's parasite, the black hole that swallows their manufactured light. And they can feel it. Oh, they can feel it. Every cell in their body is screaming danger. Abort, retreat. But their ego won't let them understand why. Their conscious mind can't process what their nervous system already knows. You're not prey anymore. You're something else. Something that makes them the prey. Let me show you what happens in real time when a narcissist encounters you now. Stage 1 approach. They see you. They decide you're worth manipulating. Maybe for supply, maybe for control, maybe just for sport. They move toward you with their opening line ready. Stage 2. First contact. They speak. But as the words leave their mouth, they feel something wrong. The usual satisfaction isn't there. The usual sense of control isn't there. It's like throwing a punch and hitting air. Stage 3. Recalibration attempt. They try a different tactic. Switch from charm to vulnerability, or from vulnerability to authority. Cycle through their options, but nothing's landing, nothing's connecting. You're just looking at them, calm, present, completely unbothered. Stage 4. System warning. Their body starts sending alerts. Heart rate increases slightly. Palms might sweat. An uncomfortable feeling in their chest. Not fear exactly, but something close. A sense that they need to end this interaction. Now, stage 5. Shutdown. The words stop. The script vanishes. They make an excuse and leave. Or they just leave without excuse. Either way, they're gone. And they don't come back. This is happening faster now too. Used to be they'd get through a few attempts before retreating. Now some of them hit stage 5 within 30 seconds. Their system recognizes the threat that quickly. You're becoming more potent. Whatever frequency shift happened in you, it's intensifying, concentrating. Like your presence is becoming increasingly toxic to narcissistic programming. And here's the beautiful, terrifying truth you need to accept. This is permanent. You can't go back to being supply. You can't unbecome what you've become. Whatever transformation occurred, whether it was trauma that forged you, wisdom that elevated you, or just survival that evolved you, it's locked in now. It's structural. It's not a phase you'll grow out of or a defense mechanism you can turn off. You are now incompatible with narcissistic frequency, permanently. Every narcissist you encounter from this point forward will experience the same thing. The same silence, the same shutdown, the same retreat. You're not going to meet one who can handle you. You're not going to encounter one who has a counter strategy, because there is no counter strategy for someone who exists outside their operational parameters. You've left the game entirely. You're not playing defense against them. You're not even playing. You're just existing in a state that makes the game impossible to play around you. And that's your power now. Not the power to fight narcissists. Not the power to outsmart them. The power to simply exist in a way that makes them cease to function. The power to be a walking dead zone for manipulation. The power to enter a room and watch predators go mute. Some of you are feeling this right now. You're remembering recent encounters. You're connecting the dots. You're realizing why certain people have been avoiding you. Why conversations have been dying in weird ways. Why manipulative people keep looking at you strangely and finding reasons to leave. It's not in your head. It's real. And it's not going away. You've become the frequency that narcissists can't process. The energy they can't drain. The target they can't lock onto. You're not fighting them. You're not even resisting them. You're just operating at a level that makes their tactics irrelevant. And they can't handle it. So they go silent. So they shut down. So they retreat. Because you're not just immune to their manipulation anymore. You're the thing that makes manipulation impossible. You're the silence that swallows their script. You're the void where their performance dies. And every narcissist who meets you now will learn the same lesson. Some people can't be played. Some frequencies can't be hacked. Some presences can't be manipulated. You're one of them now. You're one of them. Now you always will be. And there's nothing they can do about it. Welcome to the other side. The side where narcissists go silent. Not because you made them, but because you became something they have no script for.
They're shocked you didn't need their help. Shocked you didn't crawl back. Shocked you didn't beg. Shocked you didn't fold the way they swore you would. See, they built their whole identity around the idea of you failing without them. They convinced themselves you were weak. They convinced themselves you were helpless. They convinced themselves you'd fall apart the moment they walked away. And now look at them, sitting there, watching you rise, watching you build, watching you evolve into something far stronger than they ever imagined. They didn't expect this. They didn't expect you to survive the betrayal they orchestrated. They didn't expect you to rise from the ashes they tried to bury you in. They didn't expect you to turn the knife they left in your back into a weapon of your own power. They're stunned because the truth is they thought they were necessary. They thought they were the source of your strength. They thought they were the glue holding your life together. But the second they removed themselves, everything got clearer. Your path, your purpose, your potential. You didn't crumble, you sharpened. You didn't collapse, you transformed. You didn't break, you became dangerous. And that's the part that scares them. That's the part they never prepared for. They told everyone you'd fall apart without their help, but now everyone can see that you're doing better without them than you ever did with them. They whispered lies, they spread rumors, they rallied people against you. They wanted the whole world to believe that you were incapable, that you were incompetent, that you were nothing without them. But the plot twist is simple. You were the one holding them together the entire time. You were the backbone they pretended wasn't there. You were the one giving them energy, insight, guidance, comfort, direction. You were pouring into them while they drained you dry, and still they had the audacity to call you weak, to call you nothing, to call you forgettable. Now they have to sit in the truth, a truth that burns, a truth they can't swallow without choking. You didn't just survive without them, you're thriving, you're rising, and you're doing it in full view of everyone who doubted you, and you're doing it with no team, no handouts, no support, just you and God and the fire that betrayal lit inside your soul. They don't know what to do with that because they can't take credit for your rise. They can't attach themselves to your glow. They can't claim they helped you get here. That's why they're mad. That's why they're restless. That's why they're bitter. You became the one thing they never wanted you to become: independent, untouchable, self-sufficient. And in their eyes, that makes you dangerous because now they can't manipulate you. Now they can't guilt trip you. Now they can't control you. Now they can't hold anything over your head. Your success proves they were never the ones holding you up. Your success exposes their lies. Your success humiliates them. They spent so long telling the world you couldn't live without them. Now the world can see you're living better than ever. That stings them in a way you will never fully understand, because people like that depend on being needed. They depend on you staying small. They depend on you staying confused. They depend on you depending on them. So when you broke the cycle, when you stopped chasing, when you stopped explaining, when you stopped giving them access, it shattered them. Not because they cared about you, but because they lost the power they thought they had over you. And the best part? You never announced anything. You never retaliated. You never exposed them. You didn't run around telling everyone what they did. You didn't announce your evolution. You became it. You kept your mouth shut. You kept your head low. You kept working. You kept praying. And you kept rising. And now that you've risen, your silence is louder than any argument you could have made. Your progress is louder than any explanation. Your growth is louder than their gossip. They wanted you to fall apart. They wanted you to quit. They wanted you to drown without them. God raised you higher than their intentions. Your spirit carried you further than their expectations. Your resilience destroyed their predictions. And now they don't know how to face you. They don't know how to face the truth. They don't know how to face the reality that you were never the weak one. They were. Because only weak people try to sabotage others. Only weak people depend on lies. Only weak people fear someone else's potential. Only weak people try to dim a light they can't match. You were never the threat they told people you were. You became the threat they feared you'd become. And now, they're watching you glow from the shadows. They're whispering your name with regret. They're replaying every moment they underestimated you, every insult, every lie, every betrayal, every smug moment where they thought you needed them. Because now they see the truth. You were carrying yourself the whole time. You were building yourself the whole time. You were your own foundation, your own strength, your own guide. They didn't lose a helpless person. They lost a powerhouse. They lost someone chosen. They lost someone protected, someone destined, someone they were never meant to contain. And that's why they're shocked, because you didn't just rise without them. You rose above them. You rose beyond them. You rose past every limit they tried to place on you. And now they don't have access. Now they don't have a seat. Now they don't have influence. They don't even have the right to speak on your name. But they will try. Oh, they will try. They'll try to pretend they supported you. They'll try to rewrite the past. They'll try to act like they always believed in you. But the truth is carved into the timeline. When you needed them, they mocked you. When you asked for help, they laughed. When you were down, they kicked you. When you were lost, they abandoned you. And God watched. Your spirit watched. Your ancestors watched. And everyone saw who they really were. So now when they come back, and they will come back, It's up to you how you respond. You hold the power now. You hold the access. You hold the elevation. They used to test you. Now you decide whether they even get close. They used to judge you. Now they're the ones trembling under the weight of their choices. They used to laugh at you. Now they choke on the regret. Remember this. Remember the nights you suffered alone. Remember the moments you needed someone and they turned their backs. Remember how they gossiped, ridiculed, and celebrated your pain. Because now God is celebrating you. Now life is aligning for you. Now the spotlight is on you. Your rise is their lesson. Your strength is their consequence. Your success is the judgment they earned. You didn't need them then. You don't need them now. And you will never need them in the future. Your journey was built on the strength they tried to erase. Your glow was built on the darkness they threw at you. Your power was built on the pain they caused. And now they're shocked, they're terrified, and they should be, because you didn't just rise without their help. You became unstoppable without their presence. You became elevated without their approval. You became chosen without their validation. And that is the darkest, coldest truth of all. They were never the reason you rose. Their absence was. But let me tell you something even they haven't realized yet. Your rise, your power, your evolution. This is only the beginning. They think what they're seeing right now is your peak. They think this version of you is the final form. They think the level you've reached is the highest you'll ever go. They have no idea what's coming next. They have no idea what God is building behind the scenes. They have no idea how unstoppable you're about to become. And that's because they never bothered to look deeper. They never looked past the surface. They never took the time to understand your strength. They never recognized your resilience. They never respected your character. They thought the old you was the real you, the version of you that tolerated everything, the version of you that forgave too easily, the version of you that swallowed pain in silence, the version of you that tried too hard to belong. But that version of you died the moment they betrayed you, and the person who rose from that death is someone they never expected to face. A you with boundaries, a you with clarity, a you with vision, a you with strategy, a you with God standing over every step. And that's why they're terrified, because the version of you they tried to break is not the version of you they're dealing with now. You've stepped into a different realm, a different energy, a different frequency, a different mentality. You're not fighting for approval anymore. You're not begging for love anymore. You're not chasing validation. You're not lowering your standards. You're operating from strength, from discipline, from purpose, from divine authority. You're not reactive. You're strategic. You're not emotional. You're calculated. You're not desperate. You're selective. And now that you've stepped into this power, the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. Opportunities shift, people shift, energy shifts, paths shift. Because when you rise with purity, purpose, and pain, forged into strength, the world bends to accommodate your evolution. That's the law of transformation. That's the law of elevation, and that's the law they never believed applied to you. So now they're forced to watch it play out in real time, and they can't stand it. It eats at them. It drains them. It suffocates them, because every achievement you earn, every win you secure, every blessing God places in your hands reminds them of the role they played in creating this version of you. They didn't just underestimate you, they activated you, they forged you, they unlocked a level in you even you didn't know existed. And that's the irony that burns them the deepest. By trying to break you, they built you. By trying to destroy you, they strengthened you. By leaving you alone, they pushed you into a season where God could speak to you clearly. They thought they were removing themselves from your life. They didn't realize they were removing the distractions that were slowing down your destiny. They thought they were hurting you by walking away. They didn't realize they were handing you the space you needed to grow. They thought life would collapse without them. They didn't realize the collapse was the foundation God needed to rebuild you into something greater. That's why they're shocked. Not just because you didn't need their help, but because you became everything they swore you could never be. And the more you rise, the more they realize the truth they never wanted to face. They weren't helping you. You were helping them. They weren't uplifting you. You were uplifting them. They weren't guiding you. You were guiding them. You were the anchor. You were the support. You were the structure. You were the foundation. And now that you've withdrawn your energy, everything in their lives is falling apart. Look closely. Do you see it? The chaos in their relationships, the instability in their emotions, the confusion in their decisions, the emptiness in their spirit, the bitterness leaking out of them. That's what their life looks like without your presence. That's what happens when someone loses the person who unknowingly held their world together, and they can feel it. They may not admit it. They may not say the words out loud. They may not have the humility to face the truth, but deep down, they know. They know they messed up. They know they lost someone rare, someone loyal, someone genuine, someone they will never find again. And that realization hits harder than any revenge you could ever seek. Because the worst kind of punishment is witnessing the success of the person you tried to destroy. And that's exactly what they're experiencing now. A punishment delivered quietly, silently, effortlessly by the natural laws of life and God. Your elevation is their consequence. Your growth is their regret. Your glow is their reminder. Your strength is their nightmare. And they can't escape it. They can't hide from it. They can't pretend it's not happening, because everywhere they look, you're rising, you're leveling up, you're becoming untouchable. And the more you rise, the lower they feel. The more you step into your power, the more they shrink into the shadows. The more you succeed, the more they question their own choices. They're replaying everything. Every moment they took you for granted, every moment they judged you, every moment they laughed at you, every moment they dismissed you, every moment they lied on you. Now they're realizing something painful. You didn't need them, but they needed you. And that's the twist that devastates them, because people who rely on tearing others down never expect their target to become the person they themselves depend on. But here's the coldest truth of all. They don't get access to this version of you. They don't get to walk into this season. They don't get to benefit from what you built. They don't get to touch what God is doing in your life. You've entered a new chapter, a new era, a new identity, a new realm of power. And this realm is protected, guarded, sacred, off limits. Not everyone deserves a seat in your life. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not everyone deserves proximity to your purpose. Some people are locked out permanently, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of wisdom, because you learned the truth the hard way. Not everybody around you is for you. Not everybody smiling at you loves you. Not everybody close to you wants to see you win. Not everybody clapping is celebrating you. Some applause is poison, some support is camouflage, some friendships are traps, some relationships are illusions. And now you see it all clearly. God removed the blindfold. Life removed the illusions. Your pain removed the naivety. Your betrayal removed the softness. You're sharp now. You're aware now. You're selective now. You're discerning now. You're unshakable now. And that's why you're rising the way you are, because you finally understand the difference between people who care for you and people who drain you. You finally understand the difference between genuine connection and parasitic attachment. You finally understand who you can trust and who you must let go. So when they come back, and trust me, they will, understand this. You owe them nothing. Not your time, not your energy, not your loyalty, not your forgiveness, not your access. Your rise is not a second chance for them. Your glow is not an invitation. Your success is not a reunion. Let them sit with their choices. Let them sit with their regret. Let them sit with their consequences. You didn't need their help then. You don't need their help now, and you never will, because everything you are becoming, everything you're building, everything you're walking into is happening because you stood alone, guided by God, fueled by pain, and transformed by betrayal. They're shocked you didn't need them, but soon they'll be shocked by how far you go without them.